How's it going, YouTube? It's Aaron here. Welcome to part 2 out of the series on how to hire a good, reliable VA from the Philippines. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, after this video, go back to part 1 so that way you can learn, how to set up everything and how to, make that job posting on Upwork to make sure that you find a qualified applicant to actually apply for your job. But in this video, we're gonna go over, how to choose, the right type of people to even do an interview with, some of the interview questions that I ask before I start working with them, and overall, just my overall story on how I chose my virtual assistant. So let's get right into it. Okay, so if you don't know me, hello, my name is Aaron Bogle. I'm currently growing my smma, and I share all my knowledge because I'm in the trenches just like you guys are when it comes to growing your smma. So if you want to join me on this journey, and if you want to be successful with smma as well, be sure to hit a like on this video and subscribe as well to not only please the YouTube gods, but it helps you out because you're going to get more content from me, and also helps me out because it's good to know that I'm actually making an impact and that people are actually learning something and actually making some headway with smma, because it's not an easy journey. So again, thank you for the like and the subscribe as well. So like I was talking about before, when you hire a VA, in the last video I left off, you're gonna get a lot of proposals. Like I can see, I sent 26 different proposals overall. And overall how it works is you're gonna get a whole bunch of proposals, right? And now it's like you want to choose, the right candidate for your needs. So overall, I'm going to go through, some of the good proposals of people who I actually chose to do an interview with, and, what I looked out for, and what I, some proposals that were just bad, so that, just to immediately ignore them for the most part, right? Okay, so overall, when you're looking at the proposals, you're going to be in, this step 3. So we did step 1 here. Step 2 is like after you post a job, you can invite specific freelancers that fit your criteria. And then here's step 3, you can review the proposal. Here's what I look for, in the proposal as well. So, the person here, I said $3 an hour. I'm just covering it so you can't see that person's face for, privacy reasons. And then the cover letter, I said to, say the word blues in the beginning of their cover letter. So if you remember from my verse video, I say to, say a keyword that they need to say so that that they've read your cover letter. And I said, say the word blues, and he did here. So that means, okay, that means that, I can actually, I'm going to actually read his proposal because I know at least that he's somewhat detailed oriented as well. Okay, so here's an example of just overall a bad proposal overall. So first thing is, this is my archive section, so that means that I just deleted it, got it out of the way, and he didn't say blues in this proposal, so I'm like, okay, he didn't read my post, and that means that he just uses a template, and that he doesn't really care about helping me grow my smma, or at least he's not detailed oriented enough to help me grow. So I know you can just discard them. You can discard those proposals. Okay, and then you're gonna get some ridiculous ones here who they're gonna try to overcharge you, and he just says I am interested. So he's just wasting his connects like that. So you're gonna get some ridiculous ones like this, but let's look at some good ones. Okay, so here's an example of overall a good proposal that I got, and she's actually one of the people who I interviewed as well. So this is an example of a good cover letter. So she says blues, which I was looking for. I'm applying to the position of being a virtual assistant. I'm a freelance virtual assistant serving other clients, and overall, while this was kind of like not everything was like tailored to me, but she said she's detailed oriented, organized professionally, can type fast, and she says I would love to transfer these skills to my company, Tension Free Marketing, as your virtual assistant. So this is what I'm looking for. So like I was saying in the first video, you want to see what kind of skills that they have and how that can help them be good at their job. And then this is an example of that. So she was one of the people who I interviewed. So you're gonna see good proposals and bad proposals like I just showed you there. But you wanna, of course, take the good proposals, and you wanna see that overall that they have the skills and they have the knowledge, and that with those skills, they can help you, reach whatever goal that you want to reach, or do whatever you want them to do, etc., etc. So that's overall what I'm looking for when I'm hiring a virtual assistant for a freelancing position. So then what you do is that you send them a message saying that, hey, I would love to interview you. You set up a date and time to do an interview. And usually I did like a Google Chat interview. You can also do a video chat with Upwork, but I was having some technical difficulties doing that. So, I mean, overall, it doesn't matter, but I still just want to see their face and, just so that, that human to human connection. So now in this portion of the video, I'm going to get into the interview questions that I asked them and overall how I, did my interview overall. The interviews are pretty quick, it's like 10 to 20 minutes at max. I think, it's going to be less than 10 minutes overall. But overall, here are the interview questions that I asked them. And overall, the kind of response I want to hear from these interview questions so that I know that they're a good, high quality VA to actually work for me. So the first thing I do is just, I introduce myself, I introduce who I am and what I do. And the first thing I tell them is just to relax. I'm not gonna bite, I'm not gonna be mean, just I want you to be yourself in this interview, because I just want to say that so that way, they're not too tense, because I know, when you go in for interviews, you're nervous and you're like, you're like shaking and stuff. But, once the interview teller tells you to, relax and hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, they get more calm and decent, and, it, makes the interview a lot easier and a lot better to go through. So the first question I ask is, out of everything you could be doing, because there's a lot of things you can do online, why did you choose to be a VA? And I asked this question just to hear their story, just to see, why do they overall just want to be a VA, and like, what's their path to them becoming a VA as well. So I just want to know their story overall. And the thing you kind of just don't want to hear is just, oh, I just wanted to make some money, because that's greedy. And overall, if you're not going to usually get that answer. I mean, yes, making money is a good side benefit from it as well, but usually if people are just money oriented, they're not going to be the greatest of workers. They're just going to be focused on getting paid. So the next thing I ask is, what are your best skill sets, and what are you best at doing? What skills do you think you can improve at as well? So overall here, I'm looking just for a direct answer on what they say. I don't want to hear like, well, I think I'm good at this, I think I'm good at that. Or, no, I want, confident answers. Just like, I could do this task well, I could do this task well. And also what skills, when I ask, what skills do you think you can improve? I'm looking for, confident answers as well. I don't expect them just to, know right off the top of their head, like, oh, I'm bad at this. But the key thing I'm looking for when I ask that question is, are they taking steps to improve at that skill they're bad at? Because it's kind of like a defeatist mindset if they're like, yeah, I'm bad at typing, and, I'm just gonna be forever bad at typing overall. I want them to be like, I'm bad at typing, but, I'm taking typing lessons, or, I'm trying to, improve my typing speed overall. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear that even though they have bad qualities, which every one of us does, like no one is perfect. And if I hear them say, oh no, I have no bad qualities, that's when I run for the hills, or, I don't choose them for the interview, because then that means that they're arrogant and they're not really self-aware of, their strengths and their weaknesses as well. But as long as I hear that, I have this fault, but I'm improving on it, then, overall, that's what I want to hear. And then I asked them, the next question is, do you have any prior experience? If so, tell me, and what did you excel at and what you could improve upon? It's kind of based off the first question as well. I just want to see, where they're coming from, their story, and to see like, okay, what experience did they, go over and above at, and what other experiences did they know? Did they fall short? And, what did they learn from that lesson as well? Just so they know that, so I asked this because, like, if they make a mistake, are they going to learn from that mistake? And are they going to, not make that mistake again and improve upon it as well? So the next question I ask you is also really important. If I ask you to do a task, and you realize that you needed help or that you couldn't do it in some way, what would you do? So the only thing I'm looking for here is that they would come to me and ask me questions. And most people are going to say that, because I'm not looking for some, some hero or some person who thinks who knows it all. and thinks, oh, I can figure it out and solve it on my own, because, more than likely they're going to mess up even further. And I'd rather them just send me a message and, or call me up and just ask me, than for them to, be like, oh, I know how to fix it on my own. Then they mess things up even further. And then by the time I get involved, it's way, way too late. But overall, I just want them to ask me, if they need help, come to me. I'm not gonna bite. I'm not gonna, throw some fists. I just want them to ask me. Then the next question I ask them is if they're subscribed to my channel, and if so, if not, why aren't they yet? Because they get highly valuable content. For this, I'm looking for them to say, yes, I am subscribed to Bogle. Why wouldn't be? Okay, no, in all seriousness. So the next question I ask is, what do they do outside of work? So I ask this question because I just want to know that, they're human, that they have other hobbies, and that, they do stuff for fun, or maybe, we share similar hobbies as well. Because I don't want them just to be like working 24/7, because if they give an answer like that, like, oh, all I do is work, 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 then they could experience burnout. And overall, that burnout is going to affect you, because if they're feeling burnout, they're not going to be as productive as you want them to be. So you want to make sure that they have other hobbies that are outside of work that, gets rid of their stresses overall. And then another question I ask is, do they prefer to, text me, call me, or email me? So this is just because I want to establish, okay, what's the best way for us to communicate? So if, we need to do a call, I can set times up for call. But most of them are good with doing texting or emailing. But for the most part, everyone has WhatsApp, so I just say, do you have WhatsApp? And then they usually say yes, and then like, okay, we can text and call through that channel, because WhatsApp's free. You can text people internationally, and yeah, and it's also great because you can see the time that it's the time it is in their country. So like if they're up, or it's too late, so you just message them in like 8 or so hours or something like that, right? So yeah, it's just so that what's the best way for us to communicate, so that way when I communicate with you in this method, it's going to be received, read, understood, and all that fun jazz. And then the next part of the interview is it depends on how you did it, is I train them. So overall, I train them on exactly what I want to do. So, if this is sending cold emails for e-commerce businesses, you can say something like, hey, okay, I want you to go onto Google, type in e-commerce stores near me, go on the Google listings, collect the emails, and then send them to me along with their business name, business email address, etc., etc. So you spend, a little bit of time training them, and then you pretty much tell them exactly what you want them to do step by step. And then you make sure that they're following along the way. You want to be like, okay, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And then at the end of it, it's like, okay, do you have all of this down? And then they're like, yep, yep. And then what I do after that is then I say, okay, I go on Google. I'm like, starting fresh from Google, direct me to everything I just went through, and tell me exactly what I need to do step by step. And usually, it may take them some time, but they're usually able to get it. So I'm not looking for it to be, perfect 100%. Like if they miss like very, very like teeny tiny small details, then I'm not gonna care. But if they miss big stuff, like if they don't even remember the website I want them to go on to, or if they, miss a big important aspect, then overall I know that they're not a good candidate for it overall, and that they weren't really paying attention. And that goes against my detail-oriented, pay attention to things, because especially when it comes to messaging people, or whatever task that you want them to do, they're gonna need to be detailed-oriented, and most likely that task is gonna be very, very repetitive. So if over that repetition, they miss a detail or two, that's gonna look bad on you. And overall, if they're able to pay attention to even the small details during this interview, that means that they're good. That means that they're always going to be paying attention, and that even with repetition after repetition of doing the same task, it's still going to be up to the high quality detail that you want it to be. And then I tell them, the conditions if I choose them. So overall, I said, okay, I'm going to let you know by this date whether or not I chose you for the job. Then I say, starting out, it's going to be, 10 hours or however many hours you want per week. And, if over the 2 weeks you're getting the result that you want, or, you're finding it really productive, you can think about increasing the time limit or decreasing the time limit overall. And then I say, for tracking and all that, we're just going to use Upwork. Honestly, most of these VAs are very independent, and with the system that I had in place, all of that would have been tracked anyway. But if they log into Upwork when they do like per hour, Upwork does a good job in tracking their times. It also takes screenshots of their screen, so that way that they're actually doing work when you want them to do work overall. So that's overall the whole entire interview process. So here are the things to look out for the interview as well. You want to make sure that they speak good English and that you're able to have a good conversation with them. If you're having a hard time speaking with them and you're having a hard time communicating with them, then overall it's not going to work out, because then when communication falls, details are missed, and that could have a bad effect overall on what you want, and just have an overall bad effect on what the VA is like overall. And then next I see is, their confidence, like, are they confident in doing what they do? How relaxed are they? And just next, overall, how much do I like them? Like, there's some times where, the VA is completely perfect and stuff, but, I just don't like him. I just don't like him or her for some reason, and it's fine if they don't mesh with you and you don't really like them, or you like some other VA better. That's completely fine, because you want to work with people that you overall like and that you get along with as well. So that's one thing you want to look out for as well. And of course, you want to make sure that when they did the training, or that when they showed you how to do the training, that they understood it, they get it complete, and overall they overall did a good job. And you want to make sure that the answers to their questions fit your needs, fits exactly what you're looking for when you're hiring a VA. So I'm going to briefly just talk about my VA experience in hiring a VA, and some of the things that you might see, so that way you don't unexpectedly see these things and you don't know how to encounter them. Pretty much out of all the proposals, I got around 26 or so. There was 3 of them which I liked off the bat. So, and I wanted to get this done as soon as possible. So I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna interview at least 3 VAs and then just hire 1 for right now. I talked with the VA. They pretty much, all of them did a fairly good job answering the questions. They all had really, really good English, which I really appreciate and really liked. It's just one of them completely bombed the training. Like, she missed a lot of details here and there, and overall it was just, compared with the other VAs, they did very well on the training. And then I was left with 2 VAs who I liked fairly well, but overall, one of the VAs, the thing is, so I set it at $3 an hour, and as soon as I sent her a message for an interview, she changed it to $4 an hour. And then she was like, we can discuss this during the interview. Then I literally sent a message to her back saying, no, this job's paying $3 an hour. There's no negotiation on, the current pay. But I say, if you do a really good job and I'm seeing the results I'm seeing, we can talk about an increase in pay. So after that, she understood that part, but that still kind of set me off a good amount, because it's kind of like asking for a raise before you've even gotten to the interview of the job. And then with that, the interview was fine, the training with her was fine as well, but it was just mostly that. And then the other VA, overall I liked him. He was kind of like the same age as me. We vibed very well. I liked his proposal the best overall out of all of them. And also, his English wasn't as good as the others, but it was good enough so that we could communicate. And also, since we communicate mostly through texts as well, he's able to read the text and send them back to me in really good English. But overall, even though his communication was kind of subpar, he did the training very well. I liked him overall. We shared a few laughs. So that's why I hired him as my VA over the other ones. The things with the other one, she was good, but it was just her raising the bid to $4 an hour. It was kind of like, they were even, and I really did not know who to choose. But because she raised her bid, I was just like, okay, she may be kind of money hungry at this point. So overall, I'm just gonna choose the other VA, and I've been working for him for like around 2 months now, and I'm enjoying it. He's doing a very good job. And you know, of course you're gonna have some hiccups and bumps along the way, which if you want me to talk about that, be sure to leave a comment below on, like, you know, how to manage and, you know, how to keep a good relationship with your VA. So yeah, so that is how you interview a VA, so you know you're getting the highest quality VA. I know this video is probably really long, but you know, it's worth it when you want to get a good VA, especially for your SRMA to outsource some of the tasks. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, be sure to click on the video up there so you can watch part 1 of this, you know, hiring a VA series. I'll see you guys in that video. Take care.